We're in the same
30's
boat.
nothing, right?
What's
30's nothing, right? How many of you have?
No? Okay, Susie said we have to celebrate.
How many
Oh,
years?
check John.
How many years have you been married?
Oh my God, boss. 70,
No, I need that.
42.
I need this.
See, 30's nothing.
Figure out what I
If it was his 50th, then I could see.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, we do celebrate on birthday. I mean, individual. Like on Toma.
I'm not getting video of anyone.
I know.
The whole
Sorry,
city of Beaumont
I'm
knows.
gonna log out. Try to log
That
back
one,
in.
very nice. So, oh shoot.
You're in trouble, yeah.
That's good.
Presence and the presence of
Okay, we're ready. Hey Todd, we'll be going now. Starts. Okay. This is the City Council closed session, and today is Tuesday, October 20, 2020, and I will do the opening this meeting to order at 5:03. Wait, before we do the roll call, let me say something in here that I would like to congratulate our Mayor Pro Temp, Mike Lara and Susie Lara, on their 30th wedding anniversary. So Mike will not be here on the closed session, also on the regular session. Okay, roll call please, Nicole.
Councilmember White,
Here.
Councilmember Martinez,
Here.
Councilmember Carroll,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Lara is absent. Mayor Santos.
Here. Okay. No public comments on this, anyone, or,
I have
Like to
no written comments.
okay, maybe we're good on
And I
that.
don't think I have public comments on the Zoom line.
Okay, very good. We'll just go ahead and proceed. City Attorney, Mr. John Pickney, could you read the items for closed session discussion, please?
Yes, the council is meeting in closed session. Item number 1 is conference with legal counsel regarding potential initiation of litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D4. It's a potential case adverse to the state of California challenging state COVID-19 restrictions impacting local businesses. And then item number 2 is conference with labor negotiators pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6. The city designated representatives are the city manager, Todd Parton, and Administrative Services Director, Carrie Mendoza. The employee organizations are the Beaumont Police Officers Association and SEIU.
Very good. Thank you, John. Now we will go to closed session at 5:05. We're good?
Hold on, we gotta tell John he's sideways, hold on.
On John.
Yeah.
John, your screen is sideways.
We're back from closed session, and this is the regular session of the City Council meeting. I will call this meeting to order at 6:20. Before you do the roll call, I will say again, our Mayor Pro Temp, Mike Lara, won't be here, and I congratulate him on the 30th wedding anniversary with Susan Lara. Roll call, please.
Councilmember White,
Here.
Councilmember Martinez,
Here.
Councilmember Carroll,
Here.
Mayor Santos.
Here. Okay. City Attorney, Mr. Pickney, could you report out from the closed session, please? Thank you.
Yes, the council met in closed session. Item number 1 was conference with legal counsel regarding potential initiation of litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D4. Potential case adverse to the state of California challenging state COVID-19 restrictions impacting local businesses. There was no reportable action taken in closed session on that item. Item number 2 was conference with labor negotiators pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6. City designated representatives, City Manager Todd Parton and Administrative Services Director Carrie Mendoza. Employee organizations, Beaumont Police Officers Association and SEIU. There was no reportable action taken on that item. And that concludes the report out from closed session.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, let's do this. Would you kindly, Officer Galera, lead us on the Pledge of Allegiance tonight? Ready? Begin.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and
Justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, approval or adjustment to the agenda or any conflict of interest disclosures? None. Announcement, recognition, proclamations, and correspondence. On the public comments period, items not on the agenda. Due to the current circumstances, we are encouraging members of the public to maintain participation in our meetings by using the following options: email comments, phone-in comments, and in-person subject to applicable health orders. All of the details of these options can be found in the front of the agenda and will be displayed on your screen throughout the meeting. Do we have a public comments on any? Nicole?
I do have one written comment.
Oh, okay.
Written comment is from Priscilla Lopez. It says, our names are David and Priscilla Lopez, and we are residents of the Fairway Canyon community in the city of Beaumont. We've resided in the city for just over 6 years. Since relocating to the community, we've noticed a dangerous and escalating trend of drivers speeding on our residential streets. Many of our neighbors in the community respect and value each other's safety. Unfortunately, some neighbors do not share this concern. Our neighborhood streets are often resemble major thoroughfares, people driving at speeds in excess of 40 or 50 miles per hour. We've even witnessed people overtaking slower drivers on the wrong side of the road. We have witnessed pedestrians screaming at the top of their lungs at drivers to slow down. Neighbors screaming at neighbors is not the type of enforcement that is needed to keep our streets safe. But this is the only type we have seen. Fairway Canyon and nearby school zones are in dire need of speed bumps. Speed bumps will force drivers to slow down and hopefully make our streets safer. We need to keep our children safe from speeding and out of control vehicles. We say out of control vehicles because our front driveway was a landing spot for a crashing vehicle going over 40 miles per hour when a driver hit a vehicle almost head on. That driver openly admitted that she was only going 40 miles an hour when she struck the other vehicle. There is a blatant disregard or mere lack of understanding of traffic laws, and we can no longer rely on people doing the right thing on their own. I understand that past requests for speed bumps have been made and were met with excuses that they will slow down emergency vehicles. I feel that many residents would agree that they would not want to eliminate a solution that would benefit the community 99.9% of the time. Thank you.
Very
And I'll
good.
check and see if we have any callers on the line.
There are no callers on the line.
Thank you.
Very good. Okay. Let's move on. On the consent calendar. Items on this consent calendar are taken in one action item unless an item is pulled for further discussion here or at the end of action items. Approval of all ordinances and resolution to be read by title only. Are there any items that need to be pulled for discussion? That's item from 1 to 6. Okay, I will have a item number 3. I'll have a quick questions on that. Would you kindly need a motion from 1, 2, 4, 5, 6 for a motion?
Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve consent calendar items 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. Okay, on item number 3, fiscal year 2021 general fund and wastewater fund budget to actual through September 20, 2020.
Well,
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Oh,
While we
sorry.
get Jeff on the line, I'm going to do roll call for that last
I know,
one.
I mean, Go ahead.
Councilmember White,
Here.
Councilmember Martinez.
Roll call or is this vote?
this is
This is for the consent item
for
motion.
approval.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Councilmember Carroll,
Yes.
Mayor Santos.
Yes.
Thank you.
Now I could move on item number 3, just like I read it. And my questions on here is so simple. I mean, on the reimbursement CARES Act. I mean, where did we put that item? And for transparency, and I know where it's at, but the thing is for public to know how we do account on this FAIR Act fund. Jeff?
So I'm not sure that I quite gathered the question, Mr. Mayor. If you could repeat that, appreciate it.
Okay, my question is, where did we, put the CARE Act's reimbursement? Because we
Oh,
did
okay, yeah.
the fund on that back then. I just like to have a, accountability
Yeah.
on this fund.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you. So the CARE Act, we've received three of 6 payments. We expect to get the rest of it shortly. So we've got essentially half of the money that's come into the city. And right now, it's not shown in either one of these funds. This is the general fund and the wastewater fund. It's actually coming into a separate fund. And then it'll be transferred into the general fund once we've received all the money. So right now it's coming into Fund 215 we have separate to receive the CARE Act funds, and then it'll be transferred into the general fund at a later date.
Is that fund will be distributed on different accounts of the books?
No, I mean, since the way we did the CARE Act funding is we used it to cover substantially dedicated employees of the police department. It will just be brought into the general fund to cover those costs. Your separate program that you have, which is the COVID relief program that the city's operating out of the general fund, is contained in your general fund, and those expenditures will be captured here. So the CARE Act funds are coming in through the federal government, through the state. And those will be brought into the general fund once we've received all the funds. And then the separate program, the general fund program that the city's implemented, that will be handled through your general fund.
Very good. Thank you. Now I need a motion to, oh no, I mean, it's only receive and file, so we could move on. Right? There you
You need a
go.
motion to receive and file.
Mayor, I
Okay.
move that we receive and file item number 3.
I'll second.
Councilmember White?
Yes.
Councilmember Martinez?
Yes.
Councilmember Carroll?
Yes.
Mayor Santos?
Yes. Okay. Public hearing, we don't have a public hearing. We'll jump in on the action items. There'll be approval of all ordinances and resolution to be read by title only. Item number 7, staff report regarding the city preparation for rain after the wildfires. Staff report. There will be, Mr. Galera, Officer Galera. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and honorable council members. My name is Robert Galetta. I'm a lieutenant with the Beaumont Police Department, and I'm here to give a report on the...
Microphone.
I'm here to give a report on the aftermath of both the Apple and El Dorado fires. As you know, those two fires affected the communities to our north, mainly Cherry Valley and Oak Glen, also areas north of Yucaipa as well. The resultant burn scar left by both fires, which by the way covered approximately 55,000 acres, really left a moonscape, so to speak, on the mountainsides. To give some perspective, the mountains burned from the lower areas of Cherry Valley up to the highest peaks, and it left quite a considerable area without any vegetation. And as you can imagine, a lack of vegetation and the condition of the now burned earth leave the area prone to flooding. The county professionals that we've been working with anticipate flooding to be the type that Lake Elsinore experienced during the Holy Fire, or after the Holy Fire, in which mud, water, and debris flows affected Lake Elsinore. So you can see in the photos here that there was a large amount of mud and debris that affected Lake Elsinore and its ability to operate and the citizens' ability to live comfortably. In terms of what we're looking for, some of the messages that we'll hear as we ramp up our preparations, there will be in the future rainfall forecasts, and this talks about potential, how much rain will fall and when. At this point, citizens are asked to prepare for the rain at your home or in your community and watch for those updates that we'll be putting out electronically. Flash flood watches mean the rain is expected to be heavy at times, usually within a couple days, and excessive runoff is possible, which may contain mud, ash, and debris. At that point, citizens should take time to make final preparations for the heavy rain. They should know their flood risk zones and check local orders as issued. Flash flood warnings mean that heavy rain has occurred and flash floods with water, mud, ash, trees, and other debris are occurring or imminent. And it's important to remember that our community could be completely dry, but if there's water that's falling on the burn scar, it could result in a flash flood in our community. The action that we're asking citizens to take likely require an immediate check on local orders and a start of their evacuation plan. The emergency alert system and wireless emergency alerts that you'll get on your wireless device will be activated at that point. A flood advisory would mean that moderate to briefly heavy rainfall with some flooding or minor debris flows in most flood-prone areas are about to occur. The action is depending on your flood risk zone. Some actions may be required. Fortunately, we're moving out of the monsoon season. As you can imagine, monsoons happen very rapidly with little or no warning. They cover about a 5 to 10 mile width, and they really lay down a lot of precipitation in a short amount of time. The photo that shows the rainfall there was a monsoon that we experienced shortly after the Apple Fire. Unfortunately, we dodged it. Had that rainfall fallen on the burn scar, we would have likely had a severe flood. Fortunately, we've teamed up with some tremendous assets and team members throughout the community and throughout the public safety arena. EMD, County Fire, the Sheriff's Department, the National Weather Service. And fortunately, the National Weather Service has offered some of these signs at no cost to the city. When flooded, turn around, don't drown. We plan on obtaining those and putting those at key points throughout our community to remind people that if those areas in which they are traveling are flooded, not to drive through those areas. As I mentioned earlier, a flash flood can occur when our community is completely dry. All it takes is rainfall upon the rain scar, or the fire scar rather. Again, these are photos from local area fires. The burn scar you'll see on the left and the resultant mud flow on the right. This is the Caltrans Highway 38 after a fire in 2018. I mentioned to staff that there were approximately 300 truckloads of debris removed from that fire. The Holy Fire, there were approximately 3,000 truckloads removed. So this is a shot of the Holy Fire debris flow. It's a short video, but I'll forego showing the video. But this is the kind of activity that we might anticipate given the chances of rainfall and heavy precipitation on the mountain. You may recall the Montecito fire in Santa Barbara County. To the left, you see the two search and rescue personnel looking at a flood control channel that's been clogged up with debris. Now, some of the issues that we face are potential debris clogs such as these. The Noble Creek channel runs directly under Beaumont Avenue, and that small overpass was built in 1952. And those openings are very small, only a little over 14 feet wide. Fortunately, Riverside County Flood Control has put some pier nose extensions onto those piers, and essentially what it means is they've placed new concrete devices in such a way that the debris is likely to pass through instead of clog up those channels. So they're working very diligently. You may have noticed that Noble Creek has been widened considerably to allow for the potential runoff. But again, water, as you know, will go anywhere it wants, whenever it wants, and mud will do the same. And these are some examples of what happened in Montecito. Now, Riverside County Flood Control has identified many areas within our community that are prone to flooding. And you'll note, I'll start in the bottom left. Noble Creek Park has been identified as a potential flood area because it borders the Noble Creek and it's at a lower elevation. To the north and east is Mountain View Middle School and the Beaumont Sports Park. Also anticipated to flood in the event of a large scale rain. And as you travel further, you get into areas of Cherry Valley. To the right, you'll see Brookside Avenue, that's east and west, and then Bellflower is situated north and south, connected in the yellow polygon there. And there's some mobile home parks that might be affected, as well as the Highland Springs Resort. This is a diagram created by the Riverside County Flood Control Department, and this shows a debris flow after the Bogart Fire in Marshall Creek in 2016. The red outline is the outline of the Bogart Fire, and the blue indicates the path of the debris, and you'll see that it came out of Marshall Creek, north of that mobile home complex that I spoke about, and it evolves out of the street. If you've ever been up on Bellflower, and I'm sure you have, the curbs are quite high. And the water level evolves over the roadway and into those properties, and then down onto Brookside, causing a tremendous amount of flooding. You probably recall that. As I mentioned in the next slide, there are areas that are prone to flooding and clogging, but the county is working diligently to take care of those. This is an overall view of both fire scars, and what you see is a number of blue markers that highlight the potential for loss of property or loss of life in those areas. And fortunately, we don't have many markers in our community, but our community members to the north do. So we're working diligently with EMD, the county fire department, the sheriff's department to get out warnings before these floods occur. You'll notice that along with the yellow polygons that I mentioned earlier, there are some orange areas where there may be additional flood risks. So there may be a lot of involvement depending on the severity of the rain. So here's a closer look of the potential for flooding, widespread flooding throughout our community. And so you'll see that Little San Gorgonio Creek, north of the high school, north and west of the high school, will be affected. Noble Creek, Marshall Creek, and many of the other small tributaries will be affected and likely overflow in the event of substantial rainfall on the fire scar. To help mitigate this, we and our community partners have teamed up to create potential evacuation zones, and they are named after the creeks that most affect them. You'll notice Noble, Marshall, Smith. In the event of a flood, and keep in mind, again, we're fortunate in that the National Weather Service has given us sometimes as much as 72 hours warning of a storm. So with that 72 hours, sometimes we're able to determine which areas are likely to be affected and give out warnings up to and including evacuation warnings in these areas. So for example, Noble I, in the topmost part of the screen, could be affected by a sudden rainfall. The National Weather Service would alert us, and then with the help of our partners, we'd push out an electronic warning, an evacuation warning for community members in Noble I to evacuate the area. We can also give similar warnings to shelter in place, et cetera. We will be giving out weather alerts, emergency notifications using the rivcoready.org or the Rivco Ready app. PD notifications will be sent out on our social media. We'll be hosting 2 community meetings on the 27th. And starting this evening, we've begun going door to door in those areas that have been identified as potential evacuation zones. What I might add too is we're working with Beaumont Unified School District because historically our evacuation zones have been the schools, the high school, the sports complex, Mountain View Middle School. Those are all within these flood areas, and they adversely affect the Beaumont Unified School District as well as the students. And we're working with them to create an evacuation plan because, as you know, they have staff on site at many of these facilities. We're also working with Beaumont Unified to push out messaging to all the families of students in the community. So again, in closing, we will be pushing out messages anywhere between 72 and 6 hours before these rain events. 48, 72 hours, you'll get a get ready. Make a list of items to gather, prepare your homes, arrange for transportation, fuel your vehicles, etc. Within 24 to 48 hours of a storm, you'll get an evacuation warning. This is the safest time to leave before the storm hits. And then finally, 6 to 12 hours before the storm, you may get an evacuation order. We're urging citizens to leave before the storm, leave when ordered, and reminding people it's not safe to stay home if you're in those areas. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Do we have any public comments on this?
I have no written comments. Olivia, do we have anyone on the line?
There is nobody on the line.
Very good. Thank you so much. We'll open up for the council discussion. Council, we'll go on Council White, and then will be Council Martinez.
Just a real quick question. Looks like we're getting rain this weekend. Is it going to be of the kind of rain that we need to worry about?
At this point, there's a 30% chance of rain, and it does not appear that it's the type of rain that we should be concerned about at this point.
Thank you.
Very good. Councilor Martinez?
Yeah, I just want to comment that it's an excellent presentation. We've been covering ecology in our biology class right now. We've been going over this stuff, and I've been using actually the city's websites and stuff to go over these burn scars and flooding with the students. And I'm going to add this PowerPoint in there because it's really an awesome way of looking. And I don't mean awesome that it's tragic, but the fact that you have it well outlined and that you can really see, the students can really relate to this a little bit more because they can see it in their area. And I just want to thank you for that, because if I can help push the message to the students, hopefully it'll get out to their parents and their community. So thank you for that, and thank you for everything you guys keep doing. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Very good. Councilor Carroll, you're fine?
It's an excellent presentation. I'm really glad that we've scheduled the meeting for follow-up on this. It's critical that we make the community more aware. It's really hard to get the visibility that we need on it with the public. So the more we can push the message out, the better.
Okay, very good. My side in here, Lieutenant Galera, so thank you so much. Quickly, I've seen this experience I had on the, used to live in Rancho Camunga for several years, and the mountain over there, and then I moved to Redlands, Loma Linda. I've seen that also because there was a big fire on the Mountain View, and then it flooded the railroad tracks, the half of the bridge in there because of the debris. Also in Redlands, it pushed all the debris and got stuck in there, and I lost one of my land in there, wash out on that. That's why I mentioned this to share to our city manager, Todd Barton, and I really appreciate that we're acting really on time. I hope in time. I think we're in advance right now on this. I'm glad that we're doing it. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
on
And
this.
if I can add, your staff has been amazing in helping get ahead of this and helping to mitigate some of the
Yeah.
issues that we're facing. And we'll likely revisit this because it's going to take several years for that mountainside to repopulate with vegetation.
Very
So we'll be
good.
talking about it again. Thank you.
Very good. Need a motion to receive and file?
I'll make a motion to receive and file.
I'll second.
Good. Thank you so much again. Okay,
I'll do roll call really quick.
go ahead.
Councilmember White?
Yes.
Councilmember Martinez?
Yes.
Councilmember Carroll?
Yes.
Mayor Santos?
Yes. Okay, move on item number 8, purchase of a 2020 Dodge Charger police vehicle from National Auto Fleet Group in an amount not to exceed $34,210.76, and installation emergency equipment in an amount of $10,126.31. Staff report, Chief. Oh, Deputy Chief. Tony. Yeah. You're relaxing it there. That's good. I love it.
I like to unburden him, so
Oh,
that's what
okay.
I'm here to do. Okay, so Deputy Chief Yoakum, for all those out there that don't know me. As you know, the Beaumont Police Department participates in the Riverside County Post-Release Accountability and Compliance Team, or we call it the PACT team. This is a team made up of a bunch of different agencies, and this is a team that goes out and monitors the offenders who are released early from our state prison system. We receive money from the state to operate these teams, and we recently received a check for $23,638.01 for that purpose. We are proposing that we use this money to purchase a new vehicle for our PACT officer. His current vehicle is about 7 years old and is in need of replacement. We are proposing that we replace that vehicle with a 2020 Dodge Charger. We've received a quote from the company that we've used on the past 2 or 3 budget cycles to buy other cars, and the quote came in at about $34,000, and it's going to cost just over $10,000 to outfit that with all the emergency equipment. So staff is recommending that you authorize the purchase of one Dodge Charger in the amount of $34,210.76 from National Auto Fleet Group, and authorize the purchase of the emergency equipment and the installation in the amount of $10,126.31. The check for $23,000 will go toward the purchase of the car, and any remaining funds will come out of our state asset forfeiture fund to make up the difference.
Very good. Thank you. Do we have any public comments on this item, number 8?
I have no written comments. Olivia, do we have anyone on the line?
There is nobody on the line.
Okay, very good. Council, discussion, questions? Okay. Council Carroll, please.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm really glad that the state funds this particular role, and I think this is an excellent use of the funds from that. I think that whenever possible, we should make sure that the police department has the best equipment possible when they're doing their job. It's respect for the job itself as well as the officers. So I'm in support of doing this, and I think that the PAC team is really what's needed to make sure that the public is safe, in addition to all of the other roles that the public safety team does. So I support this. Thank you.
Very good. Anybody else? If not, I need a motion.
Mayor, I move to authorize the purchase of one Dodge Charger police vehicle in the amount of $34,210.76 from National Auto Fleet Group, and authorize the purchase of emergency equipment and installation in the amount of $10,126.31.
I'll second that.
Councilmember White?
Yes.
Councilmember Martinez?
Yes.
Councilmember Carroll?
Yes.
Mayor Santos?
Yes. Thank you, Deputy Yukon. Okay, item number 9. Reject all bids received on October 2nd, 2020, award a public works agreement to Methodist Corporation for construction services for 2020 mid-year street enhancement project, CIP R-05, in an amount not to exceed $2,697.70, and authorize the city manager to sign change orders up to additional $875,302.30 for not to exceed construction bid of $3,500,000 even. Sorry about that. Staff report. Jeff?
Good evening, Mayor, City
Got a lot of
Council.
numbers in here.
Yeah, thank you. So just a little bit of background here. So on September 1st council meeting, we had a discussion about the allocation of some CFD funds and inclusion of some additional CIP projects. City Council directed staff to amend the CIP, which was subsequently done on October 6th, and included a part of this amendment was to include a mid-year street enhancement project. So staff worked diligently, prepared plans and specifications as advertised for the street, and advertised the street maintenance project, and received bids on October 2nd, 2020. Upon receipt of those bids, quickly thereafter, we received a bid protest stating that the city's basis of award allowed for multiple interpretations for the lowest responsive bidders. Essentially, the crux of their bid protest was that as read in the notice inviting bids, we could either award the contract based on the base bid plus an alternative, or on the base bid, including any additives that were included in the bid package at that time. Depending on which way the award would have gone, it would have led to potentially two different contractors. We had discussions with the city attorney.
You're muted, Jeff.
All right.
There you go.
This whole
We
time?
lost you. Go ahead, Jeff.
Sorry, so I don't know where we left off here. I don't know how that happened. So in discussions with the city attorney regarding the bid protest, it was determined that the fairest and most equitable way to proceed was to reject all bids and clarify the confusion and rebid the project. We did so on October 8th, rebid the project for another week, and we received 4 more bids last Thursday. The the lowest responsive bidder was determined now on the basis of the base bid only, so there would be no confusion. Upon reviewing the bids, it was determined that Maddich Corporation was the lowest responsive and responsible bidder. So therefore, staff is recommending Maddich Corporation perform the construction services for the project. This project includes various treatments to enhance several streets, primarily in the downtown area. Within your agenda packet, there are 5 different subsections you will see, A, B, C, D, and E. These are largely consistent with what we saw on the September 1st council item. I will say that at that time, several of these projects, as we were trying to essentially get the most bang for our buck, were slated for slurry seal. Upon examining those streets and going, we have enhanced the treatment for several of those streets and incorporated the utilization of some good technology and current technology to get a better service. Some of those things include a modified mill and overlay where we would mill the existing surface 1 inch rather than 2 inches, but we would still get a fresh asphalt course over these surfaces. The incorporation of a leveling treatment where we have certain low depressions where it's expected that the settling that has occurred already and not much more is expected to occur in the future with a leveling or with a new surface cap on top. We are also looking at implementing on some of the streets an ARAM membrane, which is a rubberized slurry treatment that's about 3/8 to a 1/2 inch thick. And then we will also utilize a traditional grind and overlay. We rebid the project, and many of the additives that we were looking to include in the first round, we included in the base bid, and I'm happy to say that not only did we receive a little bit better pricing, but we were able to include all of the streets that we originally intended to bring. So as far as the fiscal impact, the budget that was amended at the first council meeting in October was for $3.5 million. We have the bids that came in for Maddich Corporation around $2.62 million, leaving a remaining amount of about $875,000. So staff is recommending that the city council approve a contingency of about 33% to not only allow for incidental expenses, but there will be some required handicap and curb ramp retrofitting as part of the mill and overlay sections. And we are also negotiating with the contractor this time to include additional streets, potentially including Gray Street, Beaumont Avenue between Oak Valley and Brookside, which would complete the segment for Beaumont Ave, and then various local downtown streets that you've seen previously in your pavement workshops and last year's capital improvement project. We also will be utilizing, or will be gaining some funding from Cal Recycle regarding the, regarding a reimbursement grant for about $18,000 due to the utilization of the ARAM, which is the recycled rubberized pavement. So with that, it is staff's recommendation that the City Council reject all bids received on October 2nd, 2020, and award a public works agreement to Maddich Corporation for construction services for the 2020 mid-year street enhancement project in an amount not to exceed $2,624,697.70, and additionally authorize the city manager to sign change orders up to an additional $875,302.30 for a total not to exceed construction budget of $3.5 million. I'm available for any questions you may have.
Thank you, Jeff. Do we have any public comments on item number 9?
I have no written comments. Olivia, do we have anyone on the line?
No, there was no one on the line.
Very good. Thank you. Council, open for discussions? If not, I need a motion.
I have a quick question.
Okay, go ahead, Council White.
So Jeff, can you look at Area C? And all I want to know is, I didn't see a legend to the map, so I'm trying to understand what yellow, what the green, and what the red represents in that.
Yeah, I apologize. It should have been on there. It's on the overall legend. So if you look at Area C, the green is the 1-inch direct overlay over the base. You'll see it on the overall map, and then it was on, I don't know why I didn't make it to, I apologize for that, to Area C. But it's consistent on all the areas itself, so any of the color coding is consistent across the other areas. The yellow is, which is that asphalt rubberized membrane that we talked about in slurry seal. And then the blue is that 1-inch mill and overlay that I talked to, 1-inch mill, then a 2-inch overlay.
And the red, I assume, are just areas that need extra reconstruction or something?
Yeah, so the red areas are the ones that we drove through and identified areas where we think that it probably needs a full dig out. So the entire street itself does not need a full dig out, like we did on Beaumont from 5th to 8th. But there are spot areas, especially in a lot of the downtown areas, where we would expect that they are not conducive to either a mill and overlay or some other treatment, and that we would spot remove those. So we would remove the entire asphalt surface and then come through and replace that.
Okay, thank you. That's what I needed to know.
Very good. Barry, are you raising your hand?
Yes,
Go ahead.
I am.
Okay, go ahead.
Jeff, I just need some clarification. It's the first time I've come across where you have a rejection of bids and you wind up with one person. I think for clarity for everybody that's listening or may be interested is, if we issued a bid where there was a controversy or a decision between one way or the other, shouldn't we have reissued the thing for everybody so we're all on the same sheet of music, so that we're not awarding it to one and rejecting the others because they chose a different path?
Yeah,
The bidding process is supposed to be pretty consistent for everybody, from what I understand.
Yeah, that's what we did. So we rejected the bids and rebid it to everybody. So the exact same path and avenue that we took on the original bids, we rejected them, and it was open to everybody and anybody additional that may want to be part of that bid for the following week.
Thanks, Jeff. I just want to make sure everybody understood that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Very good. Okay. If not, I'll need a motion.
I had to bring it up, but I'll make the motion, Mayor.
Okay. Who will be the second?
I'll second.
I'll second it.
There you go. You got a lawyer.
And Mayor, just-
Councilmember,
Hold on.
Mayor, I just want to affirm, so that is to reject the original
Yeah.
bids that were received and then to approve the rebid towards Maddich.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And
I
authorize
can
the
see
city
it if you'd
manager
like. So.
to sign.
okay. So just a confirmation from Councilmember Martinez that that's your
Yeah.
motion?
Yeah, would you like me to read it? I can just read it. To reject all bids received on October 2nd to 2020, award a public works agreement to Maddox Corporation for construction services for the 2020 mid-year street enhancement project in an amount not to exceed $2,624,697.70, and authorize the city manager to sign change orders up to an additional $875,302.30 for a total not to exceed construction budget of $3.5 billion.
Thank you. Councilmember White?
Yes.
Councilmember Martinez?
Yes.
Councilmember Carroll?
Yes.
Mayor Santos?
Yes. Thank you, Jeff. Okay, item number 10. Award of contract to Lisa Wise Consulting for the 6-cycle housing element. Update in the an amount not to exceed $209,995 even. Staff report. Oh, Christina Taylor.
Hi, good evening, Mayor and Council.
Good evening.
It's a pleasure to be before you tonight requesting award of a contract to Lisa Weiss Consulting for the 6-cycle housing element update. The housing element is the city's chief policy document addressing all housing issues. It provides plans and programs that focus on conserving and improving existing affordable housing, providing adequate housing, and assisting in the development of affordable housing. It is a state-required element that, once updated, will fall in line with the general plan and the forthcoming general plan update. As you're familiar with the process we've been going through with SCAG and the rest of the SCAG region, the city has received its fair share assignment of units for the 6-cycle RENA, and our number is 4,201 units that we must accommodate in this new housing element. That is an improvement, I suppose one could say, compared to the current cycle that we're finishing up, where our allocation was about 1,000 more when we were at 5,250 units. The current housing element is for years 2014 to 2021. It is part of the 5th cycle. It was adopted by City Council in 2013, and it was certified by the state of California. Staff released on August 27th an RFP requesting proposals for the 6-cycle RENA and housing element update. Staff received a proposal from Lisa Weiss Consulting, and that proposal did address all of the required and optional items requested in the RFP. After refining the scope of work, staff and Lisa Weiss Consulting came up with a task list, which is included in your staff report and is also included as a detailed scope in attachment B of your staff report. Lisa Weiss Consulting is familiar with the city. They have done zoning consistency analysis and fiscal modeling for the city, and they have demonstrated in their past work that they are responsive and knowledgeable. The proposed cost for the city's housing element is $209,995. There's a detailed cost proposal included as attachment C in the staff report. The housing element update will be paid for through reimbursable grants that planning has secured through the state of California. And we have $210,000 available to us. And the housing element update will be completed per the state deadline of October 2021. At this time, staff is requesting that council award a professional services contract with Lisa Weiss Consulting for the 6-cycle housing element update in an amount not to exceed $209,995, and authorize the mayor to execute the agreement on behalf of the city of Beaumont. I'm available if you have any questions, as well as 2 representatives from Lisa Weiss Consulting.
Very good. Thank you, Christina. Do we have public comments on this?
I have no written comments. Olivia, do we have anyone on the line?
No, there is nobody on the line.
Okay. Council discussion, questions on item. Go ahead, Councilor Martinez.
Yeah, just real quickly, does this process, is it similar to the general plan update where you get a citizen committee and all that too, or is this simply from a consultant standpoint?
Yes, sir. This process will involve extensive community outreach and requests for community input. We will be identifying stakeholders as well as citizens groups to participate. The state of California actually looks for a very robust community outreach program with development of the housing element. So we will be, much like you'll see in the general plan that'll be coming to you next month, you'll see a detailed plan of, what was conducted, who was identified, was it, electronic and in person, virtual, was it surveys, was it, a whole variety of things that will be put together.
Perfect. All right. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, Council. Need a motion.
Mayor, I'll move that we award a professional services contract with Lisa Wise Consulting for the 6-cycle housing element update in an amount not to exceed $209,995, and authorize the mayor to execute the agreement on behalf of the city of Beaumont.
I'll second.
Councilmember White?
Yes.
Councilmember Martinez?
Yes.
Councilmember Carroll?
Yes.
Mayor Santos.
Yes. Thank you,
Thank
Christina. Okay, let's move on. On item number 11, approval of invoice from Riverside County Fire Department for fourth quarter fire services. Staff report, Jeff.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, City Council. Before you is the fourth payment. As you know, they come in quarterly payments for fiscal year 20, which, we completed back in the end of June. I did talk with the Riverside County, and they were a little late getting this out due to COVID and the variety of the fires that they were dealing with. So we just got this in a couple weeks back, and now it's before you to close out that fiscal year 20 fire obligation or contract with Riverside County and CAL FIRE. And so as you can see from the staff report, it came in a little bit under budget. We're about 92% of budget on this. We're basically, we have a couple other things that were in that budget. We had a little bit of a vehicle repairs that we had to make, and then we had the wildland fire contract. But even with those, overall, we're under budget on the fire services allocation for fiscal year 20. And this was incorporated into the numbers that you saw that I brought to you October 6th and October 8th. So this has been included in all of your estimates. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Very good, Jeff. Thank you. Do we have any public comment on this, Nicole? He's over there. She's coming. Oh, okay.
I have no written comments. Olivia, do we have anyone on the line?
No, there is nobody on the line.
Okay, very good. Council, question, discussion? Okay, Councilor Carroll, go ahead.
Jeff, I just want to thank you for always giving such good, clear reports. Obviously, going to the one answer we might have, which is on the percentage and what we saved on, and then always clearly tying it into your prior reports. I don't have any questions. You do a great job, which is why I don't have any questions.
Anybody there? Anybody else? No, quick comment, good job. I mean, it came out on the below budget. I love it. Thank you. Need a motion on item number 11?
Mayor, I'll move to approve payment of the fiscal year 2020 fourth quarter fire services invoice from Riverside County Fire Department in the amount of $995,832.29.
I'll second.
Councilmember White?
Yes.
Councilmember Martinez?
Yes.
Councilmember Carroll?
Yes.
Mayor Santos.
Yes. Thank you, Jeff.
Thank
Okay, item number 12. Probably John is not around on that. We'll go ahead and approval of city attorney invoices for the month of September 2020. No?
It's just making sure.
Okay.
Mr. Pinckney had recused. so-
I know, I mean, that's why I think he's not there.
Okay,
If
so,
not, go ahead, Todd.
so Mayor Council, you have before you in this item, legal invoices for professional services through September of 2020. So, in an amount of $98,766.80. Out of that amount, 20,000 or about 20% of it is for regular services. So that would be our retainer and over retainer. We had some development related matters that we had legal service for, which was 4% or $3,700. WRCOG litigation represents $48,800 or 49% of this invoicing cycle. And they had some general litigation, $26,134 of 26% of it. So I think it is important to note that on the WRCOG litigation, we have hit our cap, our reimbursable cap, or that portion that WRCOG will pay for that litigation related to the WRCOG settlement agreement and the ongoing third-party litigation that we're doing. So we're starting now to pay those fees here. So that'll be coming out of the recoverables that we've received through the other litigation that we've addressed through the last couple years. And we are awaiting a final payment for a portion of recoverables, about $500,000 that will be coming from WRCOG very soon. So with that, that concludes our overview of the legal bills for this month.
Very good. Thank you, Ms. Brown. Public comment, any on this?
I have no written comments. Olivia, do we have anyone on the line?
No, there's nobody on the line.
Okay, council discussion, approval, motion.
Mayor, I'll
make a
move to
motion.
approve the invoices in the amount of $98,766.80 to the city attorney, SBMP.
I'll second that.
Very good, thank you. Go ahead.
Councilmember White?
Yes.
Councilmember Martinez?
Yes.
Councilmember Carroll?
Yes.
Mayor Santos?
Yes. Okay, legislative updates and discussion, if there's any, on this, Todd? Are we gonna get,
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Before you tonight's the legislative
that's
update.
Kai.
Hi there, can you hear me?
Yeah,
All right,
that
excellent.
surprised me, man.
I'm glad I could surprise you.
You're here. No, it's a good surprise.
Thank you. So tonight is the ledge update for the last couple weeks or so. I'm sure you've been kept abreast of the recent events that have been going on. A little bit light because at the state level, we're obviously out of session, but a lot going on at the federal level. Most often talked about is the Phase 4 negotiations, or a Phase 4 relief bill, if you will. So today was the supposed deadline that Speaker Pelosi had instituted in terms of trying to get a Phase 4 relief bill passed. That did not occur today, to my knowledge, but there was some discussion being made today in the Capitol on possibly talking about it tomorrow, or another bill coming out of the Senate, much smaller in nature. So we'll kind of keep an eye on what happens in the next couple days or so, and forward all updates to City Council. Unfortunately, today also was the day that Riverside County moved back on the state tiering level. So we're back into purple, which is widespread. That goes into effect in 72 hours from that order. So that's going to be in a few days or so. It's something that we're going to be monitoring. I know that the public information officer has already sent out some public notices on kind of what that means for the different local businesses as well as the customers. And then another fun one that we saw, and I think you saw this last week, was the state's issuance of the upcoming Halloween holiday and the guidance that the California Department of Public Health has issued. So go ahead and review that. I think we may have posted it. If not, just go on cdph.ca.gov. So that's California Department of Public Health.ca.gov, and it provides guidance for safer Halloween in the upcoming weeks or so. So I think that concludes my report, and I'm kind of anxious to see what happens prior to the election in terms of the relief bill, or if we're going to be waiting to see if Congress passes something post-election. Thank you.
You're welcome, Kyle. Thank you. Go ahead, Todd.
Mayor, and I was going to kind of roll this out. Dr. Ruiz, our U.S. representative, has been working on various pieces of legislation over the last several years with regard to burn pits. There's been some legislation that's been passed to provide for some accountability and some recoverable and some benefits for our military and former military who have experienced exposure to those. There are a series of bills that he does have out before the House for consideration. These are bills that are put together in a bipartisan fashion. There's representatives between him and the other side of the aisle that have looked at this. So if I can, I'd just like to highlight the 5 bills that are there that are being considered. And my question to council would be, is there an interest from the council perspective to weigh in or provide any support towards any of the proposed legislation that's out there, since it could potentially affect Beaumont families? So the first one is HR 7597, Department of Defense Burn Pits Research Status Act. So that's a requirement that the DoD has to provide to Congress with regard to the identifying what burn pits are there and what their status are in terms of operations and cleanup. In addition to that, recommendations from the DoD in terms of how they're going to close these out and clean them up permanently. There's the HR 7596, which is the Burn Pits Health Provider Training Act. And that's a requirement that health providers who are serving military members who've been exposed to the burn pits actually are trained on what our military folks have experienced, what their exposures were, what the potential follow-on effects of that. So they're trained, they understand the repercussions, they know how to treat it. HR 7599 is the Reducing Exposure to Burn Pit Act, which requires the Department of Defense to include in their budgets a request to Congress, which it would be an estimate of the funding that they would have exclusively dedicated to incinerators and waste to energy. So other alternative processes and procedures to destroy the waste other than putting them into pits and burning them. So are there other ways to cleanly dispose of those? So again, it would require the DoD to include in their budget request the funding of the technology in those processes. HR 7598, which is the Post-Deployment Burn Pit Question Act. So it would require the Department of Defense to include separate standalone questions about burn pit exposure in post-deployment health assessments. And the intent there is to increase information to Congress on the locations and the numbers of soldiers who had been exposed, so they can better track the actual exposure and they can go through that process. And then finally, HR 7600, which is the Burn Pit Registry Expansion Act. That's going to require the DoD and the VA to expand the burn pits registry that includes burn pits that were established in Egypt and Syria. So again, expanding that. So the whole concept of this suite is expanding the knowledge, creating a requirement that alternative methods be used to destroy the waste from our operations out in the Middle East particularly, and then to track who was exposed, where were they exposed, and then when they go in for treatment, making sure that the medical professionals treating them understand what they've been through and what their potential physical maladies may be. So that really is the suite of what he has proposed out there today.
Very good. Thank you. Any comment, discussion, council on that?
I'd like to make a comment.
Yes. Go ahead,
I agree with the idea of supporting those bills. So
Okay.
if we need to do something formal, then I'm all in favor of that.
Okay. Yeah. Council, other? Go ahead, Council Martinez.
Yes, I agree too. I think it's a very important cause. We have many veterans in our community, so I think it's definitely worth supporting.
Go ahead, Council Carroll.
Yes, I think it's definitely a worthy cause. If you're going to protect our service men and women, this is an important piece of it. I'm on the Vets Committee, and this subject comes up with experts in the community who either have particular medical knowledge of how invasive this problem is on the service members, but also from individuals who actually have been, they've suffered because of the burn pit. So they're painful stories to hear, and I'm sure they're worse to experience. And this promotes awareness, training, and does an adequate step, I think, to really bring this forward. And I think it's great that we're going to support this.
Very good. Mine is definitely, supporting it. Thank you. Okay, let's move on the council reports. Council Nancy Carroll.
Okay,
You first
thank you.
again.
All right, I have mostly been, of course, attending Zoom meetings, a number of vet committee meetings. One of the big concerns that we have is that this period of suspended in-person meetings has gone much longer than anybody anticipated. So obviously, we have been shutting down on our own vets meetings where we do one in the fall and then one in the usually January or February, mostly January, where we do the job resource fair. So the fall one is usually for health resources, housing resources, et cetera. And the one in January is usually for jobs for veterans and support for their families. So both of those have been corralled by the ability to meet in person. We discussed that there's some talk out in the desert of doing a virtual sort of Vets Expo. That seems like a huge undertaking, and we'd rather not be the first ones to show up on how to figure that one out. So we're going to watch that carefully and see if there's if it's even a good idea for us to consider that as a potential repetition to be able to do a job resource fair here in the Beaumont area. Beaumont's always been very proud of being a partner in that. And so if it's feasible, I'll certainly bring some of the discussion to the city manager and to council so that we know more about it. But right now we're in a watch state with that. I've attended many RTA meetings, and I've got another one this week. And RTA, in terms of the county, is doing a really good job of monitoring and continuing to do all of their health precautions. They are opening up some service routes wherever feasible, but they're doing it in a very cautious step-by-step basis. Our own RTA, under Elizabeth's leadership, is doing a great job of continuing to get closer to doing our logo wrap launch of the buses. And since we're a little bit behind banning, we're still trying to coordinate this as closely as we can so that it's a good, cohesive face to the community that this is a well-coordinated effort between Banning and Beaumont. So that's all I currently have to report, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilor Martinez?
No real report. I just want to mention that Councilmember White and I will still be discussing the RCA possible merger with RCTC as far as a management agency. All right, but other than that, no report. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilor Lloyd White?
I have nothing to report.
Okay, very good. Mine will be quick. I would like to say congratulations and thank you so much on the Mr. Cecil Garcia, who retired, I think 10 days ago from the community services. And I attended the through Zoom Student of the Month School District of Banning and Beaumont with Miss Carrie Mendoza on the Zoom. That was interesting how the kids really delivered their speeches and their their behavior on through the microphone. And then I attended the League's National Conference Expo last week, and very interesting. And through a conference virtual, and it's hard. I mean, it's tough, but it's fun though because there's almost 200 people on the attendees on that. Other than that, attended the chamber breakfast a Friday breakfast. Jeff, you with the speaker, and also seeing our council Lloyd White to be present in there. That's great. I mean, other than that, I just like to say, thank you so much. I mean, I'll just go ahead and move on. And economic development update, please. Mr. Todd Pardon or Kyle? Kyle?
Thank you, Mayor and Council. I don't have too much for you on the Economic Development Committee update because the meeting was canceled due to lack of items, but we will be having a meeting come next month, which is on November the 11th. So I'll keep you updated on that one as that one transpires. Thank you.
Thank you, Kyle. Okay, City Treasurer Report.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have no report because we had no meeting this month, but I do want to thank the council for their support of the veterans. I'm retired from the military, active in reserve, and I appreciate the consideration the board just mentioned for our veterans. When we put them in harm's way, we owe them a lot more than just the pay we give them. We need to take care of them from the beginning to the end, and thank you for that. That's all.
Thank you, Barry. City Clerk Report. Steve.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Just wanted to take a quick look ahead for the election process. As you know, election night will be November 3rd, and the County Registrar of Voters has pledged to deliver the final election results by the 3rd of December. They have 30 days. More than likely, the final results will come in after our first council meeting of December on December 1st. So I would like to propose a special meeting to be held on Monday, December 7th for the election results, installation of council members, and the mayor and mayor pro tem selections. If there are any conflicts with this date, just let Nicole or me know. That's Monday, December 7th. During this meeting, I will also hand out a list of external boards and commissions for consideration by each council member who wishes to serve on one or more of them. The mayor will make their appointments on the council meeting of December 15th. I also wanted to announce that there are upcoming vacancies on the Finance and Audit Committee, Economic Development Committee, Planning Commission, and Board of Administrative Appeals. All of the members with expiring terms have been notified, and applications to apply for each board have been posted on the city's website under the Committees and Commissions page. The deadline to apply will be December 1st, and the selection process will be brought to the council meeting on December 15th. Lastly, the Public Records Request monthly status report for September. We had 28 completed requests for a total staff time of 11.25 hours. Thank you, that's all.
Very good, Steve. Thank you. City Attorney Report, Mr. Pickney?
Yes. Just to segue from that, just keep in mind the rules of procedure that you adopted this year, Section 2.04.090, now establishes a rotation process for selection of the mayor and mayor pro tem. And I believe it's at the second meeting, at a regular or special council meeting in December. It's a second regular or special council meeting in December that you would appoint those two positions. So anyway, I wanted to mention that on item number 12, I recused myself on that item. I went into the waiting room before I was able to announce, but I have had a conflict of interest in item 12 because that involved my law firm. And other than that, I have no report.
Very good. Thank you. It's been noted. Okay. City Manager Report, Mr. Pardon.
Oh my, thank you.
Your turn again.
Oh, wow. So, were y'all aware that the Broncos won a game? They did. They beat Bill Belichick and the Patriots, I hear. Rumor has it. I've got a CIP update that I'll get to council, but it's a running tally of where we are with our various projects, including our wastewater plant, our various design of our projects, our EV charging stations, park improvements, all sorts of things. But very quickly, it's amazing, but we've got $230,580,748 of projects that we're working on. And so outside of the money for the sewer project, the new plant and the brine line, all this is being funded out of your various pots of hard, cold cash. So you haven't been borrowing money to do these projects. So congratulations. And if you look at our numbers, you have completed $8,640,651 worth of projects from 2017 to current. So some of the projects in the more than $230 million that we're working on now are completed and will be closing out and moving over to that list of projects. So you guys have been busy over the last couple of years. So it's some interesting numbers and some good things. So with that, that concludes my report to City Council tonight. Thank you.
Very good. That was a good report. Thank you. Future agenda items. Is there any? If not, we will adjourn this at 7:35. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Well done.
Right.
Well done. I mean, right there.
7:35.
Mm.